So, pretty much just diving straight into it, there's gonna be or not gonna be, but there's a collection of understandings in terms of what certain uniqueness seems to be apparent, or not uniqueness, but what sort of realities seem to be coalescing. One thing that's very observational is not only, actually, I'm not going to get into that yet. I don't know where it went, but something about WeWork. Oh my god, dude. Oh man. Well, anyway, there's some news about WeWork, and I think Najarian, if there's the relation that I think that Najarian has, I think it's the same relation that I think it is. It might actually be. Email that I just opened. Gosh, I have no idea where that email went. Darn. Oh well. Well, anyway, there is a post, or not a post, but an email post about Najarian and his relation to WeWork. And it's just unique how WeWork is somewhat... Oh, here we go. This it was on the 21st. It was years... Oh, I almost said years ago. It was days ago. But... I think... I definitely think... Well, it doesn't matter what I think. But Najarian is probably right. Mr. Najarian is probably right about the facts that he's saying. That's what I was getting at. Oh, snap. Actually, it doesn't really matter. It actually doesn't matter at all. But I just noticed some alignment that seems to be happening in terms of oil. And I find it interesting that there's a connection, which might not be true. It's probably not true at all. But that there's a connection between WeWork and oil. Don't quote me on that, because that's probably not true at all. But there just definitely seems to be some sort of connection between Saudi Arabia's oil industry and oh, that is so strange. Anyway, I just, my freaking analysis is ridiculous. Anyway, whatever. What if you want to discover what the cabal are doing? You can just follow the money. I mean, it's obvious that the cabal purposely blew up all those oil attacks and just starts blaming people. So if you just want to follow the money, then you can just follow the money to what the cabal is doing, and that's kind of obvious. But That's so interesting. It's interesting because, like, never mind, I'm not going to talk about that. I was going to say, like, I'm involved in, I can't believe I just dumped topics like that. Like, I was talking about whales this morning, and then all of a sudden I'm talking about WeWork and Saudi Arabia, I can't even talk. Saudi Arabian oil. Gosh, what is that? Why is that such a tongue twister? Just observationally, like, I think there's not that it really matters, but there's definitely a connection between where the money's going and where the money's going. I know that sounds really obvious. I'm going to say some really obvious things that just don't make sense. Like, it just seems like, for one, I think there is one thing that's really cool. I think there's a connection, and this is just speculation. It may not even be true. I mean, it's not speculation. This is just a guess, a random guess. But I think my old roommate, his dad, is the Agorist editor, John Najarian, and if John has a son named Paul, then that would be super awesome, but I don't think so. That would be cool, though. Anyway, Saudi Arabia attacks, or Saudi Arabia oil industry, the Saudi Arabia attacks, I think there's a connection between that and WeWork. Just from what I think, and this may not be true, but WeWork pretty much is a multi-billion-dollar industry. And I worked with WeWork back in 2017, and just, it doesn't matter what I did, but I did some stuff in New York, when I was living in New York in 2017, with WeWork, and this may not be true, but I think there's a connection between WeWork and this Saudi Arabian oil, which means that here's the thing, like, there's a lot of action in this summer that WeWork was involved in, it seems like. So, it seems that, like, Mr. Najarian is absolutely right when and at least especially when it comes to, it's my opinion that I think that my perspective of, like, what the cabal are doing or how it aligns with where the money's moving is obvious to me. And then I just, like, agree with the quote that Mr. Najarian says, like, I've learned that stock prices are moved by more than just random events, which I actually don't think I should even be talking about. But anyway, I think that's somewhat true. Like, that's very factual, that there's nothing random, because, of course, everything that happens after that Saudi Arabian attack is not random. So, assuming that, or let's just have fun with this. Like, assuming that everything that happened after the cabal attacks the oil stuff, after the cabal attacks, and then they started blaming people, or blaming whatever they want to blame. Cabal blames everything except the cabal, apparently. Everything that happened from that day forward is like proof of randomity, or proof of non-randomity. Randomity. Can't even speak. Randomity. Like, but the truth is, there's nothing random about it. There's nothing random about the attack on the Saudi Arabian oil industry, or the attack that the cabal had on the oil in Saudi Arabia, in that area. So anyway, the technology. So I want to get into more details about designing that technology thing. So the technology is like some sort of suit, like a, I don't know, like some sort of advanced wetsuit that you can wear and then like swim in, and you could have like some sort of, I mean, there's so many different forms of propulsion, but it's just like some propulsion system that just allows you to have like a suit that allows you to like go through the water at like high speeds. And that would be so much fun because we could have a lot of connections with the dolphins, with the mermaids, with the merfolk, with the, what's it called? With the whales, with the orca, with the orca, oh my gosh, I can't even talk. With the orcas, but then again, that's something I've been working on since 2017, maybe since 2016, but I think since 2017. And like, I was inspired by my dream to like create music with whales, create creativity, and like that was like what I wanted to have out in the world, have out in the universe, because like it's one thing to like, or like I was already talking about like how awesome the Devic kingdoms are, and like I just had some form of connection that I think I had from my own awareness of understanding in terms of wisdom of what the connection is that humans have with nature. But more interestingly, like I learned in my dream state, which I'm not sure is my ability or isn't my ability, but like I learned in my dream state that I can like be in tune with the whales, and actually, for some reason, this is going to sound absolutely bizarre, but like the whales actually approve, or I approve, or like the ocean itself approves that it's okay to like have music blasting. But the thing is, like, I was literally like swimming with the I don't even know how to describe it. It was like I was swimming with the answer. I was swimming with the newness. I was swimming with the potential of what it means to like not just be aware of what humans are as humans, or what whales are as whales, or what Devics are as Devics, or what Devic Lords are as Devic Lords, or what the Devic Kingdom is, or what elementals are. It's just the fact that there's some sort of complete oneness in the music of it. And so, like, I was like, I just had this dream. I just woke up, and I wrote it down. I gotta literally have somebody know. It's like, I gotta have a broadcast about this. I gotta have a broadcast about this connection with the whales that I had. And it's the most surreal thing, because, like the thing that I usually do, my habit, ask the question and then wait for the answer. It was something that was so instantaneous that it's just so bizarre. It was so amazing. So it's just absolutely wonderful that I get the opportunity to continue to, I guess, not only create the technology to do that thing that I did in my dream, but to like even just like be able to inform people about that sort of priceless info, priceless intel, priceless like knowledge or teaching, priceless teaching. That's what I mean to say. Because like it was so weird. I looked up yesterday, like the relationship of like humans and like the Devic kingdoms, and like I just find it so amazing that there's some sort of essence of understanding that connects the Devic kingdoms with the music that I was listening to, and also not that it really matters, but like it's fun to say anyway, but what do I say? How do I say this? The intrinsic connection, or not intrinsic connection, but like the innate inner belief that I had when I asked the question, like when I I don't know what to call it, the coffee station or something like that. Anyway, so like I was at the coffee station and I asked, do you listen to music, or do you want to listen, or do you like me? I forgot what I asked, but I think I asked something like, do you want to listen to music? And it was almost like I answered my own question, but I didn't know that at the time. I was thinking, like, if I can inspire someone by saying, like, do you listen to music? Is music something that can connect you with all life? And that's obviously not what I asked. But, like, is music something that connects with all life? And I was listening to Ilium, I think that's what it's called. I don't know the name of the artist, but I was listening to a certain song. Illenium. That was made in 2019. Or that was made in August. I think mid-August or something. So I just made the song. Or not made the song. I just listened to the song while communicating with the kingdoms, or trying to learn with the kingdoms, the Devic kingdoms. And it was just, I don't know, it was magical or something. Like, I was also learning about the elves, their culture, or reading about the elves and their culture, and like, all that sort of ancientness that the Devics and the elves and like the gnomes and fairies uphold. It's like a very unique sort of relationship that I was able to somewhat cherish, or I think I was able to cherish while listening to like some of the songs. And it was really cool. The album's called Ascend. Anyway, so specifically, the... Hold on, actually, 1 second. I want to look something up. In terms of discovery. Oh. Well, anyway, in terms of, like, what's it called? To be honest with the inspiration that came first. The inspiration that came first was from, what's it called? My Hero Academia. The person with the eye vision abilities and the quirks of, or not the vision quirk and the support abilities of like magnetic boots, and then just the magnetic boots. And the what's it called? The Attack on Titan launching spike thing that character had. Like that type of technology. Well, not necessarily the hold on. Anyway, so the types of technologies can can model, which I think is absolutely amazingly ironic, or not ironic, but like ironic in the fact that like I had a dream right after I watched My Hero Academia, the episode when whatever the name was, but whenever that character was talking to the whatever it was, but the support teams that were watching the arena or watching the performance, and there was like some sort of advertisement that that person was performing while whatever it's called, while connecting with Lita or Lida or however you pronounce the name. Anyway, so those technologies, or at least that whole inspirational thing. It was like that whole inspirational thing, like inspired me to have a dream with the whales, and it's weird because I already have a connection with the whales, Sirius B whales and stuff like that, and it was like I had something similar to that. Like it was a scuba suit, and I could like propel myself through the water, and I could like listen to music at the same time. There's like music reverberating through the water, and like I think that that's what inspired it. Like I think that's what inspired it, My Hero Academia, and just my overall connection with the whales and the cetaceans. That's really cool. Anyway, what was I gonna say? I guess there could be more technology. Blah, blah, blah. I guess there could be more technology in the form of the similar types of connections that exist with nature stuff. I mean, that was like one of the coolest things ever, because I don't think it's ever... The thing is that's so interesting to me is that like the purpose of the technology was like, it wasn't even for fun, and it wasn't even for like recreation. It was for like the purpose of like experience and like learning. But it's something that I already knew, which is really bizarre, because like when I, which I still have the habit of doing, of like asking a question and then waiting, like when I asked the question to the whales, like can I listen to this music as loud, and can they hear the music, and can like they feel the music? And then the response was like the whole ocean responds, and there's like some sort of oneness sense. It was like I don't think I could have gotten an answer any other way. Like if I were to say, like if I were to I don't know how to say this, but like if I were to say, if there was like technology that would allow me to actually go into the ocean and like listen to music with whales, I think I don't even know if like the research of like whatever kind of conversations I would have with whales underwater in terms of the response would be as much fun as the teaching lesson. Hold on one second. Would be nearly as fun as the teaching lesson from... I don't even know whose lesson it was. But from the teaching lesson that I provided or the whales provided or whatever. I'm not even sure. Like, to be honest, like, when I think about it, like, deeply and intently, I'm not even sure, like, what there is to learn. It was just an experience of, like, joy and bliss. Sweetest thing. Like, it's weird how, well, not that it matters, but, like, I know that there's precognition, and I've been practicing with precognition and, like, clairvoyance and all those abilities, and I know those are real, but, like, I've never really experienced, like, something that I inspired to do and then connected the precognition with the reality of, like, sentient beings actually, like, living and swimming and, like, existing in life is as a form of, like, life. You know, I've never experienced something like that. I've never experienced, like, a dream that was, like, an actual learning lesson from life, from something that I discovered from the Devic Kingdoms. Like, I know the Devic Kingdoms are always here. Like, I know that's a weird way to say it. I know that the Devic Kingdoms are always present. I know that there's many different types of elves. They're all over the world, and there's many different types of beings that live in Hollow Earth and Inner Earth, and they're everywhere, and it's weird, like, I don't even know where the inspiration came from, but I know, like, in 2017, I was inspired to create the Lions, and to create the Lions, the teams that would, like, be involved in unique types of acrobatics, water acrobatics, hydro acrobatics, I guess would be the word. Zipping through the water and twirls and twists and spins and direction changes, and also the fun with like sports, new water sports, because of the new types of technologies that can be utilized with, like, advanced forms of I don't know, fun. Like, just like new forms of soccer, new forms of football, new forms of baseball, new forms of cricket, new forms of, like, sports in general, because of, like, the ability to be able to move through the water at high speeds and to, like, pretty much, like, be a dolphin, pretty much. And, of course, if you move faster through the water, you can, in a way, trick yourself into, like, holding your breath longer, because, like, you can travel more distance in one breath than you can just swimming normally in one breath. Like, in one breath, you could probably travel 400 feet underwater in one breath. No, that's not true. In one breath, you could probably travel, because you can hold your breath for, like, a minute. So, probably travel a football field, like, every minute, like, underwater, and that, like, changes how we perceive water, and that changes how we perceive the ocean, and that changes how we perceive travel. And, you know, it can be a great form of exercise, a great form of whatever, of joy and stuff. And it's weird, because, like, I already had that idea. Like, I already was, like, I wanted to do something like that since 2017, and I was like, that's literally, like, the coolest team ever. It's literally, like, a team of people that are like water acrobats. It's like gymnastics. Like, gymnastics is really cool. And, like, jetpacks and stuff are really cool. And, like, the hoverboard or the jet board, whatever it's called, that freaking that, I don't know what it's called, but that engine thing that you can, like, stand on, and then it moves really fast, kind of like the Goblin sort of thing, like something like that. But, like, we have those things, and those are really cool. But, like, or like humanity has those things, and those are pretty cool. But like, it's interesting that like in 2017, I was inspired to like create a team that would swim underwater with that sort of technology stuff, and then the more we practice, the more and more we practice, it'd be like flying, and it's just be so cool. Just like imagine school, like imagine a whole dance, whatever they're called, dance, dance performances, whole dance performances, and whole choreographed choreography underwater with the spiraling of, and like the dance, like it'd just be so much fun. It'd be so much fun. Like, I don't think there's anything more thrilling than just the natural connection with life that already exists. Like, the thing is, like, those type of technologies have been in existence forever. Like, even since before I was born on Earth, there's been technology. There's been anti-gravity technology, and there's been zero-point energy technology, and there's been free energy devices and free energy technology on Earth. And there's been spaceships and starships on Earth, and there's all sorts of really cool technology, and it's not really revealed, it's not really there, because, well, I don't know why, but since I've been here, I've just been aware of it. I've just been aware of, like, Agartha, and there, for example, advanced society there, City of Light there, the city of Shambhala, the capital city. It's a great example for what the cities on the surface should be, or not should be, but like this is a great example of what the type of, I don't know how to say this, but it's a great example for what the cities on the surface of the planet could be like. And it's like, I'm not sure. I'm not sure what's newer. I'm not sure what's older. I'm not sure anymore. Because, like, for thousands and thousands and thousands of years, those civilizations have been living in peace and have been just going to and from the planet, leaving to and from the North Pole, the huge hole at the North Pole, to go to different planets and go to different star systems. And that's just been going on for years, or for thousands and thousands of years. And then on the surface, it's like there's technology for sustainability in the awareness of the consciousness. You know, there's actual, true, sustainable technology. But the life forms just seem to be, or life on the surface of the planet doesn't seem to reflect doesn't seem to reflect the nature of Shambhala. It doesn't seem to reflect the nature of the advanced civilizations that exist, because we can live in a civilization that is sustainable and stable, with the types of technologies that are sustainable. And it just doesn't seem like the types of sustainability that exist in, well, let's put it this way. There are, I don't know the number. Like, I'm just trying to remote view, but I know that it doesn't really matter. It really doesn't matter at all. but there's countless ships, there's countless starships, and there's countless spacecraft that's already present. And for example, like, just for example's sake, like if somebody wants to travel from, this is such a weird example because it's somewhat impractical, but if someone wants to travel from like Alaska to Australia, they can get to from Alaska to Australia in like 30 seconds because of the technology that's already present. And the thing is, like, if, like, let's have me, for example. Like, I researched the fact that this type of technology exists, and I know that this type of research exists, and I know this type of anti-gravity, whatever, stuff exists. The technologies just seem to be present at all times. And it's not like, oh, am I just going to say, like, the starships don't exist? No, I'm going to say the starships exist, the motherships exist. Am I just going to say, like, New Age, that sounds so cliche, but New Age physics and New Age, the law of consciousness and the universal laws, like, if I were to just say that, like, universal laws just don't apply, does that even make sense? And the thing is, like, the universal laws do apply, which is, I feel, it's almost redundant, kind of saying that universal laws apply. The 12 universal laws. Anyway, so it was interesting that, like, I had a dream to be inspired to do something that, like, I was actually able to somewhat, like, imagine when I was living in Florida in 2017, and I was going through my imagination stage. I'll just call it imagination phase. Because, like, at that time, I was going through the phase of, like, oh, do I want to be the guy who... I was going through a weird phase. I was like, do I want to continue to... or do I want to inspire people to, like, join, for example, the Lions, and, like, use all these sort of advanced technologies to go through the water at high speeds for my leadership purposes or for their own creative purposes? Because, like, here's the unique thing about it. Like, just because it's so much fun, because I had this dream that seemed to come to life. Actually, I want to talk about something else first. It just seems like, I don't know what came first. Even though I had the idea in 2017, I ended up having the dream, like, last night, about me actually being able to be in the suit and then swim with the whales and just, like, holding on to the whales and all that stuff. Holding on to the tail of the whales while they're diving down, and then letting go of their tails, and then continuing to swim with the whales as they, like, surface up a little bit more closer to the surface, and then continue to dive, and just swimming at different speeds. And it's like, that's something that I wanted to do in 2017, and then it turns out to be something that I can actually dream about, and then just sort of solidify the connection between the relationship between me and the whales, and me and the cetaceans, just because of the pure joy of wanting to have, like, some advanced scuba gear that allows me to swim with the whales and listen to music at the same time, and, like, be in full expression of joy. And in a way that might be cliche, like, it's very similar to, well, not very similar, but I think it's just similar to My Hero Academia and the type of technology that exists on that on the support team's person's like feet, on the boots, where it was like magnetic induction or something like that that allows flight or allows floating or something like that. And it just seems like I almost don't know what's more inspiring, because like seeing My Hero Academia and watching that, like, or that specific episode, how like in that time frame there's marketing for that product, and it was interesting because like that sort of technology exists, that sort of, well, not that exact type of technology, but that sort of I don't know what to say, I don't know what to call it, but that sort of understanding of technology that episode encapsulates, that sort of thing is real. Like, that sort of innovation exists. And I'm not going to talk about the I'm not sure what to call it, but the first part where there's like it was almost like, oh gosh, there's so many analogies going through my head. It was almost like the last Avatar, where there's all these rock pillars, and there was just I don't know what to call it, but there's the I literally don't know what to call it. There's some sort of device on each hip, and then there's like a launching device that flies forward and then lodges into the rock, and then you can pull yourself forward as the retraction, or as the device pulls forward, like Attack on Titan, those same type of devices. So those type of devices, like, it has its own, I don't know what to call it. I don't know how to say in consciousness alone, that sort of. Here's the weird thing. And this is what's really weird to me. Here's the weird thing, like, not only does that type of technology exist and can be made, but that episode, for example, is already in the consciousness of people. It's already in the consciousness of humans. So somebody somewhere, let's just say one person. Let's say one person is inspired by that technology, and they somehow discover that you can actually, for example, go shopping for that type of technology. You can shop for that little device and put that on your hip, and then just go zooming through the Grand Canyon. Let's just say there's one person who wanted to do that. That is an instance of just reality. That's just something that can exist. That's just something that can manifest. Like, people can literally be inspired to create that type of technology. People can be inspired to, like, utilize and invent and then manifest and then have fun with that sort of technology. And the thing is, when it comes to the fact that when it comes to the fact that people can people can have this sort of technology that already exists in the consciousness of, like, My Hero Academia, and combine that with what already exists on planet Earth. When people utilize that truth, it just seems like that's just a form of inspiration that already exists, sort of thing. Yeah. Anyway. Anyway, my dream was about some sort of suit that allows me to zoom through the water. And from my point of view, I already know that type of technology exists of, like, or at least I believe back in 2017, I already knew that type of technology exists of, like, moving through the water at high speeds, of, like, just zooming, like, through the Mediterranean Sea, or zooming through the Atlantic Ocean, or zooming through the Pacific Ocean. You know, just perhaps in, like, a dolphin swim-like thing, or just jumping out of the water and maybe doing, like, a front flip or a back flip or something, or flips through the air, and then diving back into the water, and then at high speeds, then diving out of the water. And what's very strange to me is that I had a dream about how I had this actual technology and I can actually experience it. I can actually experience swimming with the whales. I can actually experience that musical dance thing, whatever it was. And it was like I could experience the whole ocean at the same time. It was very bizarre. Very bizarre. Anyway, I know that, like, in all my, or not all my broadcasts, but in the past broadcasts, there's been the usual, like, I don't know what to call it, but this habit that I have of, for some reason, dream speed and dream mode is just being absolutely consistent. And but the thing is, like, with my vivid and lucid dreams that I had, and especially this newer one, it actually feels really good. It feels really amazing. But the thing is about this dream is it's something that I knew would be possible, or something I know is already possible, sort of thing. But the thing is, like, there's a whole new avenue of culture. Like, think about it. There's a whole new avenue of culture that can be in existence with just the suit alone. I mean, new forms of dancing, new forms of sport, just whole new ways of life, whole new ways of living, whole new styles of living. But the thing is, like, it seems like that dream affirms that sort of reality. Anyway. It's so bizarre, dude. It's so bizarre. Because either way, like, the connection between human beings and whales exists. Like, either way, there's that family. There's that Earth family. Either way, like, there just seems to be a consciousness of Oh, if we, this is so hypothetical, but if we utilize this technology to create new types of sports and create new types of um, hobbies and new types of adventures and new types of sports, if this type of technology exists, then it's always present, sort of thing, and it isn't necessarily a surprise. I mean, of course it's not a surprise, which is kind of weird. Like, that dream wasn't really a surprise, but then again, my dream mode isn't really a surprise. But the truth is, like, the consciousness of those technologies, or the consciousness of those technologies, the consciousness of those technologies, the consciousness of those technologies. Actually, how should I say this? I don't know how to say this. Zero-point energy devices and, like, anti-gravity devices and all those free energy devices, or just, let's just put it under a category. All the types of technologies that exist in the Type 1 civilization or the Type 2 civilization are already present. And all that type of fun that exists, or all the fun that exists in the fifth dimension, is already present. Or, like, everything that exists in the higher dimensions is already present in the higher dimensions. So it just almost seems like those technologies are, or just like our own creativity is meant to, like, allow us to experience life with our own creativity allows us to allows us to, for lack of a better word, experience, allows people to experience life with the types of technologies that can utilize the, for lack of a better word, actually, it doesn't really make any sense at all, but it allows to experience the freedom of creativity in the first place, which is really bizarre. Like, if people, which is so bizarre, because I had this Olympic idea, or this athletic Olympic idea, I think at 18? No. 17. I don't know, whenever the last time I went to Bermuda was. But, like, the idea of, like, Olympic sports being worldwide. And, anyway, it just seems like those thoughts seem to connect. Like, the reality of, like, new sports being created because of, like, those sports that exists in, that's a very weird thing to say, but the sports that exist on the island, and then the sports that exists on the shore, on the beach, or, I mean, on the coast. Interesting. I think it's always present. I think it's always been present. It's so bizarre. So it's like, Okay, so let's just give names to these sports. How about... And this is kind of the fun that I had, the fun that I had. A few days, for just like a few days, I was just like having some imagination fun with like the dolphins specifically. And like the ability, like if you could train a dolphin, or which you can, train dolphins in soccer, sort of thing. So like, I guess we'll call it flim soccer, or flips soccer, or what's it called? Fin soccer. Fin soccer is exactly as it sounds like, but it's really just with one person, obviously, but like, it's like pretty much 30 dolphins or something like that, and like one like 5-pound ball. And the dolphins would use their tail to like toss the ball through the air to one another, and then at the same time the dolphins would be supporting, like for example, like it's basically soccer. So like I'd be standing on the... That's really cool. Standing on the dolphins. I always get informed by the same Beatles. Anyway, I'd be standing on the dolphin, and the dolphin would just do flips, or I would be like standing on a dolphin or like a dolphin on each foot, and then I'd be sailing through the water, and I'd play soccer with the dolphins, and it'd just be the ball being passed back and forth between all these dolphins, just 30 dolphins. So like, I would jump or whatever. They'd lift me up in the air, and then I could kick the ball back to the dolphins, and they would use their tails or do flips in the air and then hit the ball to one another. And it's just like a really exciting adventure sort of thing. It's just a really I don't know, dude. I've never described it before because it was just something that I'd have fun with regardless, like it's very unique. I have no idea how else to describe it. Like, it's literally well, originally I was thinking of you know how there's Raging Waters, the water like park has the current thing in the middle that goes in a circle. You can go to different amusement park roller coasters, or different whatever they're called, like different whatever they're called, rides. There we go. Different rides, different roller coaster rides. Like, it's the same thing. Like, I was thinking there would be an architectural design, an architectural city that has all these and they don't have to have a current, but all these different rivers that dolphins can swim through to like interact with humans. And it would just be, I don't know, like originally I was thinking just 5 or like 6 completely parallel 6 like rivers things. 6 rivers that lead from the ocean like 200 miles inland. Just 6 rivers about 25 feet wide, 30 feet wide, 40 feet wide, and 6 rivers right next to each other, and then there's like a space of like grass 10 feet wide in between those rivers, and the dolphins can swim in those rivers or in those streams. And it doesn't have to be 200 miles, but let's just say 3 miles. 3 miles inland. And so these dolphins can go to and from, like, the ocean to the, what's it called? To the city, to the land, to the, whatever place that the dolphins want to go. And the dolphins just do whatever they want to do. But the thing is, like, what I was having in my mind was, like, of course the dolphins would be... well, that's also a weird thing, too. Like, is it better to train a dolphin or just let the dolphins be themselves and the intelligences that they are? And that's a whole nother topic and a whole nother story. Anyway, but the dolphins... It would just be like a huge... Well, at first I was thinking just a whole sort of orchestra choreographed event where there would be like these six rivers, and the dolphins can jump in between each river, and it's deep enough where they can like dive. Let's just say like 40 feet. The rivers are about 40 feet deep, and the dolphins can just jump in between each sort of river. And there's like 6 rivers, or 5 rivers, or 4 rivers, or however many. It could just be like 2, honestly. And there could be like there can be so many things that happened on. For example, people can stand on this stretch of land, the 10-foot land portion between the rivers. That would allow all sorts of things. Like there could be soccer, there could be gymnastics, there could be music, dancing, and the dolphins can jump over people and jump over that little 10-foot stretch of land, and it'd be fun, sort of thing. But that's the sort of thing that I just like imagined and just had fun with imagination. Just like I just kind of, just the joy of bliss of just like communication and just like telepathic communication. Like I would want that telepathic communication anyway, which is kind of a weird thing to say. But, like, dolphins and humans can communicate with each other telepathically. Dolphins specifically can, like, see our organs and stuff, which is a little bizarre. But anyway, it would just be a communication of relationship sort of thing. And obviously dolphins love to have fun, and humans love to have fun too. So it would just be continuous fun and just like the joy of who we are as sentient beings. And it would be very exciting. So the I don't know. The interestingness of how just that sort of expression of joy exists in life or something. That expression of joy is just something that seems to be present anyway. That expression of joy just seems to be like almost a responsibility. I mean, think about it. Like when when I would have those experiences of just imagining this incredibly vibracious dance with the dolphins. And the orcas too, for that matter, because they're also really strong and powerful in the past and intelligent. To have this dance with them, it is the height of fun, and that was something I was daydreaming about, like before I went to before I went to Chiwaniki, and it was like, well, if I could be like a dolphin trainer, or even not even as a dolphin trainer, even just as myself. If I could just be myself and have this much fun and just imagine how much fun it's going to be when I actually can create my, like, or if I could create, or I'm not trying to steal Jacques Fresco's idea, but like if I was trying to like create a Venus Project level city with all the sort of I don't know what to call it, but current streams that they have like at water parks all throughout the city, just having like an ecosystem that has dolphins and orcas and humans living side by side in like an everyday relationship. If I could just like, not like if I could just, because that's the process of just saying, but if I could just say that, like, that's something that I want to manifest, like I want to manifest the Venus Project on, or like in one of, and if I want to manifest, or like I just want to like manifest one of the cities somewhere, like, it just seems that like that inspirational fun seems to happen, that inspiration of fun seems to happen anyway, seems to be in existence anyway. Like, it's weird because like I've been a huge advocate of Venus Project since 2016, not 16 years old, since 2016, or 2017, not 17 years old, since 2017. So I think I have to make that clear for some reason. That might confuse people, but like that's the type of reality that like I've just been so inspired about when I was telling. I didn't tell everybody, but I told a few people about the Venus Project and the idea of a resource-based economy, and the idea of just that sustainable city and all that stuff. Just regurgitating the same information that Jacques Fresco said. So the thing is, the I forgot what I was gonna say. Anyway, to be able to utilize that sort of reality of like the relationship between dolphins and humans connecting with like some sort of, let's give it a name. Oh, it sounds so cliche, but dolphin streams. Gosh, I can't believe I just said that. Oh, that's on the verge of embarrassing. Can't believe I just said that. Dolphin rivers. No, that's even worse. Let's give it a name though. It's gotta have a name. Dude, I don't even know. I don't even have a name for it, dude. I don't even have a name. Let's call it... Let's call it... ocean river, or dolphin, or it's gotta have a name. Dude, I don't know why this is so difficult to think of. Like, all I need is a name. Gosh. Dang, I don't know. I don't know what to call it. So I guess I'll just go with I'll go with Orca current. How about that? Actually, that sounds pretty good. Orca current. Like a current, like a a a I don't know. I guess there'd be new forms of commerce and trade. That is almost hilarious. But new forms of commerce and trade with the orcas and with the dolphins and with the porpoises of the sea. And hopefully, I think we're responsible enough, but hopefully with the merfolk. And hopefully with their entire civilization. I think that we're responsible. I can't really say that, but I think we're responsible enough to be able to like have like an orca current. There would be and just orca currents is singular, so there would be like 4 orca currents, or 5 or 6 or whatever. I would love to have like at least it's like from coast to coast, like orca currents every. I can't be too close together, but orca currents every 50 feet, or every mile, or every like 5 miles from Washington, or I almost said Alaska, from Washington all the way to Baja. No, all the way to the border or whatever. All the way to like California. From Washington to California, like there'd be like, I don't know, 4 or 5 or 6,000 orca currents. And like every orca current has its own, I don't know, it's just the whole thing just has limitless limits. There's no such thing as limits. The whole thing just has limitlessness. I can't even speak right now. For some reason, my mouth is all tongue-tied. Every like orca stream has its own, or orca current has its own like ecosystem of commerce. Has its own. has its own I mean, I don't want to limit anybody, or I don't want to limit the idea. I don't want to limit, like, the freedom of, like, the thing is, like, which is probably not true, but I thought the Venus Project was the absolutely most sustainable, stable solution, and I was just narrow-minded about that since 2007, or since 2016. Just literally the same support for Jacques Fresco and the same support for the whole project and the support for the city in terms of, like, how what's it called? How the most sustainable solution would be a type of reality that could not only combine the idea of, like, the resource-based economy as it is, but also combining a Rhine project with the Venus project to, like, increase the sustainability and like the rate of construction and the rate of development into some sort of consciousness that excuse me, into some sort of consciousness that sort of signifies a society. But I was too big on that back in 2016, 2017, and I was totally just into the idea of being committed at just, like, some ridiculous level to have, like, that be the greatest ideal model of a city, or the greatest ideal model of a society. Anyway, where was I going with that? Oh, orchid currents. So, I don't know, but, like, whatever would allow better ideas, bigger ideas, best ideas, because I don't want to, like, control or like say, like, this is the only way it is. But, like, I want to leave it open, obviously. Open-minded, open-hearted sort of, like, mentality aspect to, like, how to approach the, not to say that it's only about commerce, but the idea in general. Anyway, where's it going with that? Oh, orchid currents. So, orchid currents, around each orchid current would be restaurants, buildings, maybe little camping areas, tents. What else? Sport events. Just, like, whatever would be around. I mean, the thing is, like, okay, I guess one important thing to do is just to focus on the foundation. The foundation of the relationship in the first place between orcas and humans, or dolphins and humans and orcas. So there's obviously an increase in, like, the overall ecosystem that affects nature around these three beings. Orcas, dolphins, and humans. There will be coral, many different types of fish, and, like, a flourishing ecosystem that all species, that's a weird thing to say, that both species can enjoy. But obviously all species will enjoy, but it's because it's not limited to just, like, these two species or these three species. It's just all these species together, harmonizing in a more unique way, even though that's already present all the time. So, but anyway, so there'll be flourishing coral, lots of fish, new forms of fish markets, new forms of the relationship of how fish is even perceived between dolphins and humans, because like perhaps dolphins can take part in commerce through their own intelligences, through many things, and that's what's actually really, really, really freaking fun. So we have like homes, little alcoves, different intelligent architectural designs of the dolphins' homes. Like the dolphins would be able to the dolphins would live in I don't know. There could be different chambers, different sections of the orca current, and there can be little areas that have fast-moving water, slow-moving water, and areas with like pools of fish, and areas with like warmer water and cooler water. And so the dolphins can develop their own intelligence through the creativity that we can instill with architecture. So originally the streams are just straight parallel streams. It's straight parallel, or the currents are just straight parallel currents. I'll call them OCs. Oka currents, short for Oka currents. So the OCs are the oaks. The oaks! Oh my gosh, I love it! The oaks. Alright, so the oaks, the OCs, the OCSs, the oaks. Or maybe we should just call it the oaks. The OAKCs. Excuse me. So the oaks themselves are just... The oaks themselves are just literal currents where it's just straight, parallel, like no curves or anything, no hills, no, what's it called again? Oak? On each side of the oaks, or each side of the orca current, would be two I don't know why I said two. But on each side of the orca current, there would be 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 or 7. But there would be like little pools. And these pools are whatever is up to creativity. To whatever creativity wants. To whatever creativity desires. But these pools are, warm pools, pools for food, pools for recreation, pools for training, pools for shelter, pools for just whatever. So so it'd be 2 miles to 3 miles of orchid currents, and then on every 500 feet, there's a pool. There's almost like a branch, like a leaf, or every 500 feet there's a or every 1,000 feet there's a, I don't need a name for it though. Every 2,000 feet would be let's call it a orca pool. orca currents, orca pools, and oh gosh, there's so many different ways, so many different ideas that can coalesce, but it's not the name doesn't really matter that much. I mean, it could be orca currents, or it could be oaks, or it could be orca pools, or whatever. The name doesn't really matter. But just in general, like, the architecture would have alcoves, different types of caves, and perhaps it would be best if it was just all underwater, in terms of, like, if there's elevation. So for the landscaping, like, obviously there's only certain places on the coast from Washington to California, or from Washington to California, that have, like, completely flat land from the ocean to, like, 3 miles inland. And perhaps some of the like, orca currents would go deeper into the mainland, deeper than, like, deeper than 4 miles or 5 miles, probably like 10 or 15 miles inland. So the streams, or not the streams, the orca streams, or not the orca streams, but the orca currents, I don't know why I keep calling it streams. The orca streams, there I go saying it again. The orca currents, whatever, I need a new name for it. Orca water rivers, OWRs, oars. Okay, I'll call it oars. So the oars are not to be confused with oars, as in, like, oars that are used for rowboats, but the oars, the oceanal connection from ocean to land, the oars will be, like, connected every... There really isn't, like, a fixed number, but the oars will be connected every, like, 5 miles or so. And they'll go deep into the mainland, let's say, like, up to 15 miles or 20 miles or 30 miles even. And for, like, when it comes to, like, landscaping, because there will be lots of hills, and there'll be lots of, or there are lots of hills, and there's lots of, mountains and valleys. So for those cases, in those scenarios, or not cases or scenarios, because the word cases can get really confusing, but for those scenarios, I forgot what I was going to say. I don't know. Because, like, for example, valleys. Like, the waterfalls can't be, like, too steep, obviously, because you can't have dolphins flying at, like, full speed going down a waterfall. That would be a little ridiculous. That'd be very ridiculous, actually. But anyway, I actually don't know. Oh, it would just be, okay. It would be, there'd have to be actual architectural constructs. So, pretty much like a giant, imagine, this is so cliche, but imagine a giant roller coaster, you know, the regular old, like, water tunnel tubes roller coaster things, but, like, massive size. So it's a lot bigger, so the diameter is, like, so kind of like the, there's no example in real life to compare it to. So kind of like the aquarium, how the Sydney Aquarium is like there's like a U-shaped tunnel that people can walk through. So it's the same thing for dolphins. So except the whole like tunnel circular thing, the whole tunnel system is supported by pillars and supported by beams, but the whole dolphin like I don't know what to call it, but that whole circular waterway, that whole circular waterway will just have like a gentle slope to it, or a gentle, what's it called? Incline? Or a gentle, oh gosh, I don't even know the word. Angle. Whatever word is used. A gentle angle into, like, the valley, and then once it reaches the valley floor, I just poked my finger with the plant thorn accidentally. Once the circular like waterway reaches the valley like floor, once there's like no more slope, like if they're like it's obviously coming from higher elevation to lower elevation, once it comes to a lower elevation, then the orca, what's it called? The orca, I forget what I called it. The orca, wow, I completely forgot what I called it. The orca currents can completely return to the parallel whatever, the parallel nature of the normal orca. I don't know why I keep forgetting the name. Like, every single second I forget the name. I don't know why. But the orca, I don't know why, dude. I have no idea why I keep forgetting. Orca current. Every single level of the now I can't even say orca. Orca current. So there'll be pillars that support the waterways, and maybe it could spiral or like bank left or bank right into like a curve spiral thing as it goes to a lower elevation. I have no idea higher elevational currents though. I have no idea how that would work. It would just be underground. So say like for mountains, the orca current would just go straight through the mountain or underground the mountain. The orca currents would go underwater, underneath the mountain, and then it would all be underwater. There would be, of course, pockets of air or like caves or caverns of air and stuff like that. And then on the other side, the orca current would just return to normal. So there'd just be like some huge underwater system. And then perhaps maybe different, what's the word? Different, river streams. Oh, different, not river streams, different, what's the word I'm looking for? Different inlets. That's what I'm looking for. Different inlets. So different inlets that extend from the main Orca current. And like the Orca current, of course, is underground. Orca current goes underwater over the mountains, under the mountains. Blech. The Orca current goes underwater, under the mountains, and then on after there is... Blech. The Orca currents go underwater and under the mountain. Under the mountain until there is no more mountain. And then when there's no more mountain, there's just normal water. Normal Orca current waterways. To the regular surface level. Orca currents. What else? I think that's all the issues that would be for elevation. I don't think there's any more issues for elevation. Like, there would just be... I don't know, maybe... I don't think there's any other elevation concerns. So just be the what's it called? The circular waterways, which is just like a how do you describe that better? A circular waterway. A CWW. A circular or a cylindrical waterway that will be present until, and it'll probably have like a diameter of like at least 100 feet or 75 feet or something like that. And then it'll just spiral to the ground or just be the gentle incline all the way to the ground so that there's no like waterfallness that the dolphins and the orcas and the merfolk, but specifically just dolphins and orcas would have to deal with. They wouldn't have to deal with like going down the waterfall at full speed, because that's ridiculous. No porpoise wants to I think that's also important to know, like what would the porpoises want and what wouldn't the porpoises want. Anyway, I think that's all the elevation things. So there could also be curves that go parallel. So the orca currents are these huge, massive, just rivers. These huge rivers that are just connecting the ocean to the mainland. they can also have parallel stretches. So the the pretty much wildlife, all the porpoises, all the orcas, all the dolphins can have the ability to not only go inland but to go parallel inland. And there would be something that would allow them to understand the differences between the orca currents. And orca currents are literally just east and west, and I'll call them dolphin rivers. The dolphin rivers, which go north and south. The color coordinated. Every intersection between the dolphin rivers and the I forgot the name. Every intersection between the orca streams and the dolphin rivers can have color coordinated sort of like intersections, like at that, like each corner, the four corners. So that would allow orcas and porpoises orcas and dolphins not to get lost when they're, for example, if they wanted to swim back out into the ocean. They wouldn't get caught in just a maze of getting entrenched in different type of squares as they just swim around in the same sort of pattern. Of mazehood, as like the orcas and the porpoises and the what's it called? Maybe merfolk go through just different pathways of orca currents, and what's it called? Dolphin rivers. Actually, color coordination wouldn't be very helpful. I was thinking sound, but that might also not be helpful. Okay, you know what? Just no dolphin rivers, because that could actually still get really confusing. So just the regular old what's it called? The regular old east-west orca currents that are just huge, massive rivers, just that are wide enough to support like the dolphins and the orca's body as they swim inland. And then there's just the alcoves on either side of the orca streams. And then they could just swim the other direction, or make U-turns in the alcoves if they want to swim back into the ocean. What else? So the coral, fish, the sharks, the fish, the plant life, the ocean life, the regular old ocean life, crustaceans, crabs, etc. All of those would be present, like, all throughout the, it might be U-shaped. I don't really know, like, the exact design. It could be U-shaped, it could be, hexagonal shaped. It could be, actually, I think hexagonal would probably be the best shape. It would probably flourish. It would be a perfect ecosystem for flourishing life. Anyway, so each orca current would have like a hexagonal shape, and it would be lined with coral and lined with anemones, clams, crustaceans, just regular old sea life. What's it called? I guess in between every orca stream, why do I keep saying orca stream? Between every orca current. I don't know why I keep forgetting the name orca current. Why can't I say orca current? That is so bizarre. Anyway, between each orca current, of course, is like that thin strip of land, and the it'll just be the usual things, just stores or benches, just whatever would go on the strip of land between the orca currents, and it would just be like a massive that's just in terms of commerce. I don't know why I keep thinking about commerce. Anyway, I guess commerce is on my mind today, apparently. Anyway, there would probably be ones for whales as well. So there would be orca currents. I can't seem to know the difference between orca currents and whale currents. So orca currents are obviously probably just like 500 feet wide, but whale currents would be enough for at least 10 whales to swim side by side. So however long that is for humpback whales or sperm whales, or actually blue whales. Obviously, blue whales should be the what's it called? The standard for those alleyways. Standard for those whale currents. What's it called? I forgot what I was going to say. But anyway, the whale currents, 10 to 9, whales side by side, swimming probably not lined with coral and stuff. I don't think that coral would be a good idea. For whales, at least. I'm not sure. But whatever. There would be some sort of substance that would allow the linings of the what's it called? That would allow the linings of the whale currents to not have grow in them. Not have coral grow. Just to not, or just to have the whales not be injured, or not be harmed by anyone, or not be harmed by anyone. Not be harmed by, like, the coral that they could, like, brush up against. Because the whales still need to be able to, like, make a U-turn and swim back into the ocean. So there'll probably be just some sort of some sort of element or some sort of alloy or some sort of I don't know, but some sort of material. Some sort of material that would allow the whales to make that U-turn and then swim back out into the ocean. What else? Instead of the hexagonal shape that the orca currents have, the whale currents will have like a U shape, but not with a sharp edge. I feel like that's very important. Like, there shouldn't be a sharp edge on the. It's like a smooth U. So it's a slope that slopes into the U shape of the whale current that would allow just no. Of course, the purpose is, no pun intended, the purpose is to not have these animals or these mammals be beached in any way. But also to not, like, have, for example, their flippers or their fins get harmed on, like, if they were to come close to, like for example, on the little inlets, the stretch of land in between the orca currents and the whale currents. For example, there would be people that want to meet the whales, that want to meet the orcas. There would be people that want to, like, communicate and, like, connect with these animals. So it would just be some sort of smooth I don't know what to call it. I don't know why I say I don't know how to call it. I don't know how to call it anything else other than, like, some sort of smooth edge. Like some smooth edge that would allow whales to come close to the edge of the inlet, but also to not be beached. Oh, snap. But also to not be beached on to be beached on the sides of the whale currents, so that they can get as close as possible to the sides of the ocean, or not the ocean currents, close to the sides of the whale currents without getting beached. I don't know why that's so hard to say. Anyway, or difficult to say. Anyway, What else? So, what'll be super fun, is literally, is actually the community of it, the communication aspect of it, and the connection of it. Literally, every alcove will be full, absolutely filled to the brim with. Oh, hey, buddy. Filled to the brim with. That's the second day that's happening. No, actually, no. Oh, there we go. Lost internet connection there for a quick second. Anyway, I don't know when the internet connection cut off, but it might have been when I was talking about the beetle. But anyway, there's I guess I'll just rephrase, or not rephrase, but repeat that. There's like a really cool beetle that just flew straight up to me, and I already knew about the beetle. I already know about the little things that the beetle does, circling around trees. And it's pretty cool that it came up to me today, so that was really cool. Anyway, so I need to charge my phone. So the krill, just huge pools of krill that would allow like whales and stuff to be attracted to the alcoves and stuff. Be attracted to like the huge alcoves full of pools. Huge pools full of krill. It doesn't make any sense. Huge alcoves full of pools. I mean, I guess the alcoves could be full of pools, like different intermediate or intermittent, like chambers of water that are like underground and like underwater. That'd be actually kind of cool. But mainly it'd be the krill alcoves and the well, whatever else whales eat, or whatever else would attract whales. I mean, what would attract whales? What would attract whales into the inland other than krill? Well, anyway, of course, gosh, I didn't even think about that. But of course, one of the goals is to have like the whales be absolutely comfortable with the ocean currents, and to be absolutely comfortable with the not ocean currents, to be absolutely comfortable with the orca currents. Not comfortable with the orca currents, to be absolutely comfortable with the whale currents, and actually want to live there and stay there and stay in their little alcoves that what's it called? That the orcas can, that the whales can live in, or the whales can live at, or the whales can inhabit, sort of thing. So it's just a huge combination of like the Venus Project for whales, sort of thing, or Venus Project for dolphins and whatever the other thing is. And for merfolk. Merfolk. Just underwater. So I'll just describe the whole thing. Just underwater. Well, cause like, anyway. All right, the whole thing is like, so there's orca currents and then there's whale currents, but there has to be something for merfolk too. So there would have to be some sort of underwater castle or something like that. So there'd be underwater castles and gosh, I really don't know. I'm not sure what type of environment merfolk like. I have no idea actually what kind of environment merfolk like. I'm certain it's along the lines of I'm not sure. But anyway. So there would be alcoves full of krill. Different types of events that orca and dolphins can participate, like a dolphin advanced version of a dolphin. How do I say this? Dolphins. Oh gosh, I don't even know how to say this. Dolphins. Can't even talk, dude. Dolphins engaging in advanced soccer community relationship with humans. So there'd be soccer, a new level of football, perhaps something like Quidditch. And that's just sports for recreational fun. What else? There'd just probably be tons of events, different types of communication, different types of swimmings, or like swimming with the dolphins or racing with the dolphins. Different types of technology utilization. So obviously there would be every single human being could jump from one alcove to the next, or one orca current to the next, or one whale current to the next, and it could just be the regular old regular old technology gear that exists already in terms of like water propulsion that humans can wear. Perhaps there'll be some different types of, I'm not even sure if this is like a thing, but there will probably be some sort of like playground or some sort of invention with what's it called? With dolphins wearing technology. Like dolphins wearing, like, what comes to mind is, I don't mean to laugh at the dolphins, but like dolphins wearing headgear, like a headlamp headgear, to like a light that allows them to see or something, or some sort of device on their flipper that can allow them to open doors, kind of like the Panama Canal, how there's like that whole whatever. Not to degrade the Panama Canal in any way, but like the innovation of like how each door, they could be doors or like whatever they're called. Gates or whatever, but dolphins could have like some sort of technology device on their flipper that would allow them to go through the like different gates that would allow them to go deeper inland. Or there's probably just like some sort of button that the dolphins can press, like on the side of the hexagonal ocean current. Why do I keep saying ocean current? On the sides of the orca current walls. They'll just like allow dolphins to like engage in swimming through the waters and stuff like that. What else? Obviously, like humans would be able to develop more new ways. I'm trying to say more and new at the same time. Develop new ways and more ways to. What was I gonna say? New ways to just live in the environment of what's it called? The environment of I forgot what I was gonna say. The environment of on the ocean floor, there could be like some sort of door, and like humans can like swim through that door, and there'd be like an airlock, and they can just like live under the water, the hexagon, and then there could be like living commodities. Dude, that is so cool. That's so intelligent. Oh my gosh, I'm so stoked. That's so freaking exciting, dude. I'm so stoked. Anyway, there would be chambers where humans can live, and not to say that like the chambers wouldn't be like decked out in terms of like imagination, but just think about it. Okay, you know what? I am going to describe these chambers. Okay, so these chambers are just literal huge, massive rooms. Let's just give a number. So let's just say 800 feet by 1,200 feet. So this big chamber, 800 feet by 1,200 feet, and just like a regular old airlock, just big enough for a human to fit through, that connects the chamber with the orca current. So humans can just, swim into the, the orca current, and then open the airlock and go into airlock, drain all the water, and then enter into the chamber, the 800 by 1,200 chamber, and it's full of feet. I didn't say the measurements exactly. Yards actually. 800 yards by 1,200 yards. That's actually massive, ridiculously massive. Okay, 800 feet by 1,200 feet, which is still pretty massive. But anyway, the orca currents are massive anyway. So it'd just be a huge room. So it'd be, you could see the dolphin swimming, because there'd be some clear glass in between the chamber and the orca current, and it'd just be the regular commodities, all the things that we have in a home: couches, chairs, maybe a bear rug, oven, all that stuff. Just a regular old home, and there'd be like an aquarium, and there would be like I guess like feeding storage things that would allow like fish to be stored to like feed the dolphins. So like perhaps there's like a friendly dolphin that comes to visit the chamber every now and again, and perhaps there's like a ooh, even better. Perhaps there's like a little what's it called? Like a little pool, like a little mini river that dolphins can swim into the chamber. Dude, this is so exciting. I can't believe I'm this creative. This is so incredible. Anyway, so the dolphins would just, or orcas or whales even, could just swim into the chamber of the what's it called? They can swim into the chamber with the pool and then just greet their fellow human and just have relationships and create relationships and just advance the relationship. So that's kind of the purpose of the whole purpose of the, no pun intended, but the whole purpose of the orca currents and the dolphin currents and the whale currents is the relationship enhancement of humanity, or the relationship enhancement of all life, not just like, well, the relationship enhancement of dolphins, whales, and humans, not just whales and humans. Or not just, what I'm trying to say is, not just the purpose is not only just to have, the purpose is to have the relationship between porpoises and humans. And not to just have all these commodities without increasing the relationship and increasing the communication abilities and increasing the communication connection between humans and orcas and porpoises and whales. So anyway, there's what's it called? There's it's probably obviously there's plant life, but there's oh my gosh, this could be so interesting. So there's probably going to be trees, like, because for some reason I think we should include nature in it. Like there's probably going to be like apple trees and orange trees, and like animals. Also, like in between the orca streams and the orca streams. Why do we keep saying orca streams? In between the orca currents and the whale currents. In between the orca currents and the whale currents are, trees and obviously animals. So, turtles, jaguars, lions, bears, koala bears, lizards, and obviously, hopefully by that time, we'll have somehow agreed that we can live in peace with all the beings in Talos and with Telos, and hopefully by that time we've agreed that we can live in peace with the inner earth beings, and hopefully we've agreed that we can just have all those animals that we think extinct, all those animals that we think are extinct be present on the surface. See how interesting a word is? Like I said that we think extinct, when I really am trying to say that we think are extinct. Because the truth is, if I were to say... Well, actually, let's just have fun with this. I said that I think extinct, when the actual sentence that I meant to say is that I think are extinct. The fact is that saber-toothed tigers and Tasmanian tigers and ligers, for example, and mammoths, those animals aren't extinct. And the thing is, we can have those animals also present on the surface of the planet instead of just living in... I mean, it's a flourishing environment, don't get me wrong. But instead of just living on that level, I think it's level 4 or level 5 or something, in Telos, they can actually, come to the surface and arrive at the surface, and, all of those animals that we think are extinct, they can actually be on the surface and live and, have fun and exist on the surface of the planet because we're spiritually evolved enough. And that's pretty obvious, if you ask me. But anyway, so yeah, the more fun thing is like the architectural design with just like many different underwater restaurants, underwater alcoves. It's like I can't even say the word. It's like Grand Central Station. Gosh, I had to speak slowly. It's like Grand Central Station. How there's trains, and then there's like stores with all these trains and a whole bunch of hustle and bustle, and there's subways, and then there's like Amtrak trains, bigger trains. So it's the same thing. There's it's the waterway for whales and dolphins, and there's like little alcoves with restaurants for humans and for whales. I'm not sure how to make a restaurant for a whale or how to make a restaurant for dolphins. I was just thinking originally just huge pools, just full of krill, which seems kind of ridiculous, but what else? Just different alcoves and different restaurants and stuff. It's just whatever comes to mind. Like, there's obviously going to be flourishing plant life there, flourishing like coral and flourishing crustacean life. Flourishing life in general, just having to do with what's it called? Having to deal with just different forms of creativity that can be utilized in terms of like how or just the new ways that the dolphins and the whales can interact with life in general in these new alcoves. And it's not obviously the purpose isn't to make them lazy. I mean, it might make them lazy. It might make dolphins, not have to really swim for food as much, but it can also make them more intelligent, sort of thing. Obviously, the whole foundational point, like major, like focus and the most important thing is like the foundation of like the communicational relationship between the dolphins and the whales and human beings. different pools of like I don't want to make it too orderly though. Like there could be different pools of like crustaceans in one area, different types of crab in another area, different types of krill in another area, different types of fish. Give like a variety of fish for the dolphins and different types of alcoves, different types of ecosystems. The thing is, there would be dangerous balance though. There'd be a different type of balance, different type of. It'd be a different type of balance. It's not just the ocean, where it's just the ocean floor and water. There and ocean plants and coral and stuff, and rocks and little mountains underwater and stuff like that. But it would be organized. It would be organized. It's not ocean. It's not open ocean. For example, dolphins developed, or like the dolphins around Africa developed the skill to be able to corral fish all in like a tight circle to be able to eat them and to eat and like stuff like that. Eat food and to eat like fish and stuff like that and to eat together, like in their groups, sort of thing. The only difference is with the orca currents and the what's it called? Whale currents. There would be it would be organized. It'd be. They don't have to swim for miles and miles for food. It's just all in one spot, and it's a marketplace. Marketplace is the wrong word. It's a smorgasbord of abundance. They don't have to like swim for food or have to develop all these different skills and abilities to corral for food anymore. All they have to do is, it's what a phrase, but it's swimming smarter, not harder, or swimming easier and more intelligent, not having to swim under the circumstances of needing to like search for food constantly. It's an ecosystem. It's an advanced, evolved ecosystem of like dolphins and humans working hand in hand. I'm not sure how the dolphins would help the humans, but I know how the humans could help the dolphins. I know exactly how the dolphins can help the humans. I think it's still a science that is yet to be discovered. But dolphins and their... Oh, actually, that's hilarious. I actually already know that's been discovered. Dolphins can communicate with echolocation. And when the sonar hits the body, they can see through it and they can actually heal. They have the ability to heal like human bodies because they can see our organs and stuff. And they can see like the flow of our bodies and stuff. So, what's it called? I forgot what I was going to say. Sonic healing is something that's already present in our reality, sort of thing. Like, sonic healing technology is what, like, Project Hypercane was all about back in 2016. but humans have the ability, or humans, dolphins have the ability to echolocate and heal humans. That's one thing dolphins can do for humans. And of course, the fun, the sports, all those new sports, that would be fun for humans as well. I'm not sure. Not to be rude to dolphins, but I'm not sure what else dolphins would really do for humans other than what we have already discovered in a relationship. I mean, dolphins have saved humans before, from like sharks, or have swam with humans before. It just seems that hold on. Well, definitely gonna probably just end this broadcast short. So this is your host, Curtis Bowen, on this, early afternoon edition of the Christopher Bowen Show. With lots of love, I love you all.